Thanks very much for coming this morning. There's a great attendance for what is our Opace's first public training event. It's also our first collaboration with Bournville College, and can I just say at this moment a big thank you to Tracy and all of her team for getting us very smoothly to where we are now. Any problems from now on are my fault and not her, she's pleased to know. Can I just say two things before we start? Some of you may notice that we're actually filming the event today. That brings benefits for Opace, because it means we can check it and make sure that we are delivering the best kind of training that we can. But it also means that we can make that available to all of the attendees here. So you've got something that you can refer to, should you forget these words of wisdom, but also you can make available to members of your own team so that they can be brought up to speed on the benefits of blogging. I'm going to ask that we have questions at the end. Obviously, as we go through, something may not be absolutely clear in one section, but hopefully it will become clearer by the end. But if not, we'll have a few minutes, and then the Opace team will be around for another hour or so after the event, so come and speak to us if anything isn't particularly clear. For those of us who don't know us, Opace are an internet marketing agency, and it was founded by Dave Bryan in 2008. In Dave's experience, there were lots of great products and services out there to help businesses make the most of the internet and their marketing, but that was sometimes mismatched by a poor level of service. So David simply wanted to be able to offer a great level of products and services, but match that with great customer service. We're based here at the Longbridge Centre, and we've got about 12 to 14 full and part-time members of staff. Many of whom are here today, so again, thanks for them. My name is Brett Sidaway. My responsibility is on the content side, so whether that's copy for a website, whether it's content for social media, or whether it's content for blogs, which brings us to the reason why we're all here this morning. So, what are we looking to achieve today? Well, hopefully it's a very practical and hands-on session, really. So what we'd like you to go away with was an understanding of the benefits of business blogging. Why should you, as a business, as an organisation, as a local authority, as a not-for-profit, be using blogging on a daily basis? From there, we want to show you how to set up and configure a basic WordPress blog. And then we want to talk very much about content, and that's related to keywords. So 3 areas really: the why, the how, and the what of blogging for business. I don't want to talk theory, but I just want to have a look very briefly at the history of blogs. Many of you will know that the word blog is just a diminution of the word weblog, and essentially they started out as online journals, really. People who just wanted to talk to like-minded communities about their activities and their thoughts and their events. And suddenly it became quite a worthwhile tool, really. You didn't have to have a website, you were able to talk directly to communities, you were able to get feedback from communities. So that kind of usefulness and popularity was then picked up within the techie sector, and then marketeers picked it up, and then strangely enough one of the big drivers has been politicians, because even now it allows people who previously hadn't had a voice in politics to suddenly start to have a voice and have their opinions made. And anything that made politicians look cool, business thought, we're going to have a slice of that, really. So it became a important marketing tool quite quickly. So from web journals through to techies, marketeers, politicians, and now on to business. How can blogging help your business? I'm going to ask you, the audience now, whether you have any ideas of any of the benefits that blogging can bring to a business or organisation. Anyone?
Sharing information.
Sharing info, yeah. Anything else?
And it brings a human face of the service. It's written by people, about people.
Yeah. Anything else?
Help with the SEO, with the keywords.
Okay. Does everybody know what SEO means? Yeah? Okay. Great. Okay. Well, I've got 4 main reasons I think why blogging is beneficial. Supporting SEO is for me, key. Search engine optimization has changed, is changing, and will change. And some of the recent changes that Google, because when we say SEO, we mean Google, let's not beat about the bush. Some of the recent changes that Google have brought in if you do blogging, you're actually ticking a lot of those particular boxes. And we'll go on to those in an individual basis. When I go to businesses and say to them, let's do some blogging, the first thing they say to me, well, who's reading the blogs? Well, one person or one organisation that's reading the blogs is Google. So even if nobody else is reading them, and we come on to ideas about making sure that people do, Google is. So when Google says that you need to be updating your website, when Google says that it looks at areas of engagement and sharing, all of these things will be supported by your blogging activity. Improving customer engagement came out on a couple of suggestions there. Customers don't, or no longer, just go to websites when they're researching products and services and actually believe everything that they read on there. They will look at other ways in which they can find out about organisations' products and services. So they will look at social media, they will look at blogs, they will look at forums and review sites. So blogging will help you to become part of those conversations which your customers, your fundraisers, your supporters are already having. We spoke about building authority and brand, that human face really, you know. It allows you to go behind the scenes in much greater detail about what's going on within an organisation. It is written by people, it's a person-to-person medium. It's not a corporate thing, again we'll look at content later on, but it's a much more personalised area. And then again, one of the things that people like and one of the things that Google loves is sharing. And again, blogs are a great way to incorporate within your social media content and to get some response as well, really. So there are 4 key things which we think blogging will do. There's probably lots of other additional benefits, but I think those 4 will keep us going for today. Let's have a look at some facts. I've picked out some facts from a company called HubSpot, who it's kind of portal for blogs, really. Some might say they are prejudiced, but I think if you go on the website and research blogs, these facts will be supported by others, really. So I think they are genuine, and I think they make some interesting reading, really. Companies that have a blog have a 55% more website visitors. Business-to-consumer companies that blog generate 88% more leads per month than those who do not, and business-to-business companies generate 67% more leads than those who don't blog. Companies with more than 51 blog articles experience a 77% lift in median monthly leads. 40% of US companies use blogs for marketing purposes. And the average company that blogs gets 97% more inbound links. Again, we spoke about supporting SEO. One of the changes that Google is driving through is the quality of links. You know, in old school SEO, everybody went out and got thousands of links, and now Google are just cottoning onto the fact that they might not be great, whereas blogs will support high quality inbound links to a site. So again, just another reason to support our benefits earlier on. Okay, so hopefully we've got some idea of the benefits, and hopefully we've got some idea of the stats to support that. We're all going to go away from here and we're going to say, great, okay, we're going to start doing some blogging. As with anything in business, I think you need to decide first of all, or develop a strategy for that blogging activity. I'd love to imagine that you all go off and write your first blog at 2 o'clock this afternoon, but I think it would be more beneficial if actually at 2 o'clock this afternoon you sat down with the team and said, this is our blog strategy. Now I can't tell you your individual company strategy, because I don't know your individual companies. What I can give you is what I would say is an 8-step template to creating an effective blog strategy. The first thing is research. That covers 2 areas really. One is, what are your competitors doing? Okay? If they're not doing anything, I don't think that's a reason for you to sit down and not do anything yourself. It means you can start to have a competitive advantage over them. But it may well be that in actual fact they are already blogging and they have some good content on there, they have some good feedback and response, and they're using it well across their social media platforms. So have a look at competitors. Have a look at your target audience. What kind of things are your target audience looking for? You know, are they looking at blogs and social media? Obviously, you need to set some objectives, and it would be sensible perhaps to align those with business goals, really. Objectives can be of all different types. One might be just to improve the level of engagement. So in actual fact, a measure of that might be the number of comments and shares that you have. You might have, obviously, website referrals as a measure. Google rankings would be another measure. Ultimately, sales and sign-ups and lead generation would be another. But set some realistic objectives, tie those in with your business goals, and you've completed the second step. Create a team. One of the things that, again, people say to me all the time is, I don't have time to do it, okay? And that's probably true. But there's always, I think, some level of support that you should be able to have, you know. Talk to customers, talk to suppliers, talk to your family and friends, and just say to them, look, you know, I need to start doing this. I can do X amount in the space of a week or a month, but can you help out, you know? Talk to people who obviously work within the organisation. Again, we spoke here about the human face. Wouldn't it be great if those blogs were not just coming from you or from the marketing department, but they were coming from the guy who was working on the shop floor, the guy who was working in distribution, the buyer who went out to buy the products? Wouldn't it be brilliant if these were testimonials or they were coming from suppliers? So get a little team together and see what input they can have. Set guidelines. Again, you need to be clear about what you are and aren't going to blog about. We'll come on to content in a little bit, but you also need to make sure that, you know, if you are using humour, which is not a bad idea, there are parameters to that. You might want to steer clear of topical subjects, you might not, but, you know, again, just roughly decide what kind of language you're going to use, what topics are okay and what topics aren't okay. Decide on the frequency and the word count. I'm going to come on to frequency in a minute. Word count, Dave and I have difference of opinion, but Dave is saying that his research is suggesting that 400 words is about right, okay? So certainly 350, 400, 500 is great. Personally, I think if you then got into 700, 800, it's too long. But it might be that you've got something that is particularly specific and needs that space, that's okay. To me, if you've got 700 words or 800 words, that's 2 blogs really, and I think you would benefit to have 2 blogs. You would bring benefit rather than just having one very long one. Identify the keywords and develop content. We're going to come on to that in the third section of the presentation. And then set up reviews, analysis and measurements. Again, brilliant, you're going away, you're enthused, you're going to set up your strategy, you're going to start blogging, and then in 6 months' time somebody's going to turn around and say, is that working? Well, who knows? I would suggest that, you know, you need to be looking at least a monthly review, and even if it's only you need to clear that time to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to look back over a month's load of blogs, what's worked, what hasn't worked in terms of feedback, content, metrics and analytics really. Okay, so that's your 8 key steps to setting up an effective blogging strategy. We spoke about frequency. This really scared me when I read it. No reason to believe that it's not true. I didn't understand it to begin with, so let's try. It says 43% of less than monthly business bloggers yield a customer for their blog, compared to 92% of businesses who blog multiple times per day. Okay, so I think in plain English, if you're blogging less than once a month, of 100 companies doing that, 43 will get business out of them. Of 100 companies that blog several times a day, 92% of those will get new business. Now, several times a day to me is scary, really. But again, we've spoken about creating a team, we've spoken and we will speak about content, so it may well be that it just becomes a little bit more palatable by the end of the seminar here.